Sunday kind of love. I want a Sunday kind of love. Oh, yeah. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday kind of love.
Hi there, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, you
I haven't brought you an egg.
What?
I know.
All
I
these
forgot.
years, you usually dig something out from behind a cushion that you've been sitting
You
on for
don't
a few
deserve it
days.
this year, though.
I am an egg, that's the problem. Lovely to have you with us today. Just a short show, but certainly an interesting show nonetheless. Very sad news this week, though, Cammy, of course.
For the footballing world, yeah. At such a young age as well. 68-year-old Johan Cruyff. What a legend. I had the honour, Ben, of meeting him. I went over to, when I started doing my coaching badges, I went over to Holland to look at the Cobra coaching over there and got the chance to meet him. I've met him a couple of times since then at tournaments.
Did he understand you?
I tell you what, he could speak Spanish, Dutch, English. Very,
speak
very, I
English.
know. So I spoke to him in Spanish, of course. But no, what a man and what a footballer, and that it will live forever. The Cruyff turn.
Well, we
just
saw Harry
amazing.
Kane last night, didn't we? Harry Kane scored an extraordinary goal yesterday with exactly that move that was inspired. As I think he said at the time, I think Ian Wright was saying in commentary, he talked to him about it, it was just an instinct, it was something that he tried to do at the moment.
Just something special. The 1974 World Cup, I think I was 1 year old at the time, Ben, but I remember watching it. I remember watching it, and he was the standout
You
player.
watched the World Cup at one.
Pele was blown into insignificance in that tournament about Johan Cruyff. That's where he came to everybody's attention. Of
Three
what a
consecutive
world-class
European Cups with
player
Ajax,
he was.
71, 72, 73. 3 Ballon d'Ors, 1974 World Cup final with Holland. He won 4 back-to-back league titles. European Cup with Barcelona. Often lots of people talk as well, don't they, that he laid the foundation.
Yeah, that he
for
shaped the
Barcelona
football.
that we
Yeah,
see
everyone
now.
was saying that not just his contribution as a player, it was his contribution as a manager is the reason why that Barcelona play the way that they do today.
Yeah, and I'm led to believe that he firmly remembers the day he met Chris Kamara as well. That was one of the high points in amongst
what a
a
legend.
litany of
What a legend.
extraordinary career. He will be sadly missed. So on today's show, we're going to have the best of the action from the games in Leagues 1 and 2. We're joined in the studio by a former Premier League striker and a man synonymous with Newcastle United.
Middle road, a wall, but the gameplay. Soft focus, hard on the airplay. Trying to make it sound like the new phase. It's only gonna be the same. Just give me the love. 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 It's only gonna be the same.
Great to have James Beattie and John Carver with us this morning. Happy
Morning,
Easter,
fellas.
gents.
Morning.
Happy
morning.
Easter.
And did you
Happy Easter.
Easter presents? No.
Well, I left mine in the car because I've just been on. Well, not in an accident, but on the M3.
Mine are still on the
Left them in
train.
the car.
Yours are on the train as
I'll
well?
eat them on the way home.
I had a call from Jose Mourinho last night. He wanted to come on and I said, no, I can't put the beats off this time.
No, well, you did right.
We're delighted that you could join us. We're going to be chatting more to the boys throughout the show. A little bit later on, we're going to be talking to Jeff Stelling as well. Of course, he set off on Monday on his Men United march. All of this is live shots. He's walking from Hartlepool to Wembley. That's not actually Jeff there. There he is.
There he is.
This is Jeff arriving in Bramcote. We're going to be talking to Jeff in a few moments' time.
Yeah.
This is him coming along
It's
the
near
A1.
Leicester, for anybody who wants to know.
Yeah, he's calling it 30 football clubs along the route, raising money for Prostate Cancer UK. This is him setting off on Monday from Hartlepool. He's been joined by the cast of greats from Sky Sports.
Charlie.
And some of the not-so-greats.
I did it with him on Tuesday, York to Leeds.
and the walk, and the run. But he's been doing a brilliant job so far. Very excited that he could be joining us this morning as well. How are we doing? We've got his ear in. Jeff, can you hear us? Oh, here we go.
Oh, he is. He's not there yet. He's not,
Okay,
he
we're going
just
to be with
needs
him.
to get him
We're
mic'd
gonna-
up.
We've got to get the earpiece into him. This is
There
the
you go.
most
There's Johnny Phillips looking after him there.
picturesque, the most picturesque part.
Can you hear us, Jeff?
Leicester. Morning, Jeff. Can you hear us?
Hey, morning, Cammy, morning, Ben.
Oh, good morning. That was whistle stop.
Absolutely, I tell you what, I've been jogging the last 400 metres to try and get here on time.
Well, look, we're delighted you could make us. Jeff, you're looking very well and perky. You've got a big smile on your face. How's it going?
Yeah, well, you can only see the top half of me. The bottom half is in agony at the moment. It's been a pretty tough morning so far, to be absolutely honest. But yeah, the weather gods are just about with us as well. You know, it's been dry so far as well. We had a monsoon yesterday afternoon in Birmingham. You know, we've had 1 hour's rain in 6 days of walking. Unfortunately, that 1 hour contained 6 days worth of rain. It was a monsoon.
Tell the viewers how hard it is, Jeff, for you and Russ Green to do this.
It's it's tough on the body, but it's tough on the mind. You know, when you finish one marathon, you get a bit of physio and try and get something to eat, go to sleep. You wake up the next morning and think, well, goodness me, shall we say? Goodness me, I've got to do all that again and again and again and again. And getting over that in your mind, that's one of the key things, as well as the aches and pains, you know. So psychologically, it's been pretty tough. But we're past halfway, you know. It's downhill all the way. I mean, not literally, unfortunately, but it is downhill all the way from now on.
So, Jeff, I understand that Cammy joined you for a little bit of a walk in an area that he should have known very well, but things didn't quite go to plan, did they, when he's with you? They never do.
No, they didn't. I mean, you know, we were walking through Leeds, and, I mean, Cammy's lived in that area for, 26 or 27 years, something like that. And we got to a point where we were a bit lost, and I said, you know, Cammy, which way now? What did you say, Cammy?
I don't know, Jeff.
Yeah.
How much further did you end up
So
walking,
a leg that
Jeff?
should have been 29 miles ended up about 4 or 5 miles further, you know, which, when you've done 29 miles, there's just no laughing matter at all.
That part
Even
of Leeds,
Cammy
Jeff.
didn't think it was a laughing matter. I was told you go to that part of Leeds all the time.
A bit too often, undoubtedly. So, Jeff, I know you're over halfway. How many more miles have you got to do before you get to Wembley? Where are you with your fundraising, and what's the target you're hoping to reach?
Well, I guess we're probably, what have we got, 3.5 days to go. We're probably about 90 miles away, between 90 and 100 miles away. So we finish at Leicester today. I think we're going to recreate the JB Vardy goal against Germany when we get there as well. I'm surprised he played, by the way. Surprised he played because on the walk to Nottingham from Derby, I was walking alongside a guy. He showed me his name, James Vardy. And he covered 26 miles the day before. I didn't think he'd play at all last night, so he did brilliantly when he came on. So I think we'll recreate that. But in terms of fundraising, you know, the Just Giving site's got about 230,000 on at the moment. But there's significantly more to add to that because people have given us cheques along the way. Companies have been very generous and they're putting money in as well. So we reckon that might be more like 280. We're looking to crack that 300,000. Of course, we're running out of time now, 3 and a bit days. So if anybody wants to give, then please do give. And if anybody can't afford to give, just come and give us a shout, because it's almost as good.
Well, one of the guests this morning, James Beattie, has already been on the Just Giving site this morning, Jeff.
Good lad, James. Do you want to come and join us for one of the legs, James? It's only 26 miles. You're a fit ex-footballer.
Yeah, ex-footballer, yeah. Yeah, I'm still pretty fit, but I don't know whether I'd keep up with you, Jeff.
Yeah, you would, mate, honestly. Look, Russ Green, the chief executive of Hartlepool United, he's an absolute machine. He's out in front every single day. He's doing all 10 days as well, you know, and he's been absolutely brilliant from start to finish, you know, and... you know, Russ, I hope you forgive me saying so. He better, because he's about 10 yards away. He's a big lad. You know, if Russ can do it, James, you can do it. Come on. Cammy's to the leg.
Jeff,
and you, Ben Shepherd, by the way.
Jeff, I can't tell you how nervous Beattie's looking right now. He looks really absolutely terrified. Just so we know, so you've got a few more. You've got the whole day ahead of you. If people want to come and see you today, Jeff, is there anywhere that you'd like to? Where are you finishing today? If they could get to you.
We're finishing at the King Power Stadium, so that'll be fantastic. You know, Alan Birchnall's there to greet us. Willie Thorne, you know, Mr. 147, he's going to join us at some stage as well. Angus the Monkey's walking with us too today, which is great. And a whole load of people, by the way, and they're the important ones as well. A whole load of people who've either got prostate cancer or know somebody who's got prostate cancer, is fighting it, or has lost somebody through prostate cancer. They're all with us as well, you know, and they've been absolutely fantastic. They keep the spirits high as well. And they're the people who you're giving to and helping during the course of this 10 days.
Jeff, we've shamed him into it, but John Carver's now going to make a contribution.
What do you want to say, Gavs?
Jeff, how are you? You're looking good.
John Carver, I should hope so too, John.
Jeff, you're looking well, and you're looking very happy because obviously Hartlepool have had a massive revival. But what I will do is I'll speak to the guys at Close House Golf Club, Mr. Graham Wiley, Alan Shearer, all those guys there. Alan Beansell, our new captain. Give them a shout, and I'm sure they'll put their hands in their pockets and donate plenty of money for you.
Well done, Carl.
Along with myself.
Oh, John, that's really kind of you. Thanks very much, mate.
Even though I am on the door.
I'll have a word with the Hartlepool United chief executive, shall I, John?
Essentially, that's what that was a long way round of getting round to you put a good word in for him. He's looking for a job. Jeff, we'll let you get back on the road.
The OBE's in the post.
It should be quite right too. It's an absolute treat for us to be able to talk to you. Thanks so much for stopping by. We're willing you on all the way. Just a few more days to go. Keep going, mate.
Cheers, guys.
Don't forget the Vaseline. You know it makes a difference.
It's
Thanks
Sunday
very much,
morning.
guys. Thanks a lot.
There you go. Fantastic stuff. Good luck to Jeff and all of the team, because you did it, and all of that team around him that are trying to do the walk as well. Russ, like he was saying as well, it's an incredible challenge.
Amazing. Yeah,
just sensational. Lovely stuff. So, look, we talked about, and Jeff mentioned it there, the result for England last night, John. I mean, it was one of those things where I was sitting watching with my kids thinking, you know, we're playing quite good, well, we're doing all right, this is exciting. We're 2-0 down against the Germans. What, not again.
It's an amazing comeback when you think going to Berlin, playing against the Germans with a really young side. But it was so exciting because, you know, I take my mind back to when we were in the World Cup and everybody was so disappointed with the performance out there. But I took a great deal from it because I saw the long-term plan. And there was a lot of young lads there playing in the side, gaining that experience, gaining tournament football experience. But to see... and let's not forget, let's not get carried away here, but that performance last night was as good as I've seen for a long time, from a group of young players developing as they're going along, developing as winners, because they've had a good year. I think they've only lost one game all season to Spain, 2-0, so they've had a great year. They're developing, but they've shown a little bit of character of coming from 2 goals behind, away from home against one of the strongest nations in the world and come out with the win. And they could have had 3 or 4. I mean, you think about Dele Alli's miss. At least the young lad got in there, and that won't faze him. The one thing I noticed about everything when the full-time whistle went was everybody had a huge smile on their face. Yes, they've won the game, but they look like they're enjoying their football. 5 of those players are in the top 2 teams in the Premier League. They're enjoying the football. They're in form. So you can see that, and that's reflecting on their international performance.
It was almost regardless of the result when we were 2-0 down, James. It felt like it was a really exciting performance from England, sort of had energy, had tenacity, had creativity. Who stood out for you?
I think Eric Dyer stood out for me. And I was massively impressed with the 2 fullbacks. I thought I've seen a lot of Nathaniel Clyne this season, watching Southampton, but I was really impressed with Danny Rose as well. Just their energy going forward. Of course, we know they can both defend, but going forward, I thought they gave us great options, attacking options. And in the middle to final third, I thought we were like dynamic. We had pace. We were looking to get in behind, and even centrally sometimes, where most of the international teams defend, we showed real good like intuition, creativity. There was like 1-2s, movement off the ball, overs, all that sort of stuff when we got in, you know, a few times, and it was really, really good to see.
Everyone says we're getting carried away, but the fact is, before the Brazil World Cup, we had nothing. We had nothing to look forward to. Before going into the tournament, we said we were going to be useless. And then we got to the Costa Rica game where we were already out and people were coming over to watch them, and there was no cheer whatsoever. So Roy was fortunate to survive then, and now having survived, it looks like he's turned the corner with the youngsters.
Yeah, I think patience is very important, and you can see that those players last night played with freedom. And that only happens if you believe in what your manager's trying to tell you and your coaching staff. And they deserve a lot of credit for that. But like you say, Cammy, let's not get carried away with it. There's another game on Tuesday, and we know what football is like. It bites you on the backside. And, you know, they've got to go out and replicate what they did. And I know he's going to make 1 or 2 changes, but isn't it exciting? Isn't it exciting because you've got 4 or 5 players not involved in that squad yet?
The only thing you would say is, why make the changes? You've got a balance there now. You're looking to the tournament. You don't have many games leading up to the tournament.
But isn't he said this? The thing, I imagine that they're all sitting there going, "Wouldn't it be brilliant if we could play the same team?" But he said he wants everybody to get a go. So he's actually, you know, there's a
So that'll cloud the issue once again, then, won't it?
Of course it will, but I think it's important to make some changes to see what else he's got, because you've got, like I say, 4 or 5 players who are risks. Sterling, Sturridge, they're all risks. Rooney coming back from injury. Wilshere hasn't played much football. These guys are risks, and to take so many players away in a squad for a championship where you're playing so many games in a close period of time, it is a risk. So he's got some big decisions to make, but he needs to find out what he's got in cover.
We should dwell, James, because it was your art, of course, but that goal from Jamie Vardy yesterday, to come on and score a goal like that. Do you remember Zola scored one like that, didn't he, in the Premier League? And we still talk about it now. Just a sensational goal, full of confidence, full of belief that he knew what he was going to do. What did you make of it as a striker?
I thought the finish is exceptional, and that's a finish of a man that's on top of his game. He's playing with no fear whatsoever. He's imagining, you know, it's in Berlin, it's against the world champions, and he's come. I think it's his first touch, and he's imagining himself as if he's playing in his back garden with his mates, because that's the way he's playing. He's on top of his game. But the move leading up to the goal was exceptional. You know, the passing, how crisp it was, the movement. I know we know Nathaniel Clyne's quick, but he breezed past the fullback and then put in a great ball. And I think with the movement of Vardy, he knows in his mind that he's going to get into that front post. But the key for me is when the centre-half looks at him and he thinks that he's there, that's when he moves. That's when he makes his movement. So the centre-half looks, then he looks back and he thinks he's still there, then he goes across him, and then the finish is just, you know, that's a bit cheeky, but it's
sublime,
it's
isn't it? It's what we want to see. It's the first game. There's another. We've got a long way to go, of course. But where does this sort of leave Wayne Rooney? What does this mean for Wayne Rooney from your perspective?
I think we can't forget about Wayne Rooney.
No, of course not.
He's a super player.
He's a captain.
His appearance record and his goal record speaks for itself. And I think he'll take inspiration from this because he'll have a point to prove. I think he'll have to come into the squad again. He's the experienced player. He's the old head in the team. And you need that. You can't go in full of kids. So he's very, very important to the squad. He's the captain of the squad. And I think he's huge for us. I think he'll go back into the team as long as he's fully fit. And he's got to be 100% fit. But I think the younger players will actually feed off him. And he'll feed off seeing how exciting and how good we were last night.
The only thing that you might want to do is review the captaincy, because he can't be a shoo-in. You know, there's got to be competition for places in the way that they have, you know. So it's very difficult when you're captain of your country for a manager to leave you out. And so at this moment in time, everybody is saying, well, when Rooney's going to come back, you know, that means Kane's going to be out, that means Vardy's going to be out, other people are going to be in there. And I just think that could be a slight problem for Roy.
But it's very difficult, Cammy, when you give somebody the captaincy, bring him back into the squad and then take it off him.
Yeah, undermines him, doesn't it?
That can actually cause more problems than you think.
But it might be better for Wayne, you know. It might take some of the responsibility away from him and free him to be the Wayne Rooney that we know.
I think the lads see him as the captain within the squad. And I think that performance last night will raise everybody else's game and make them think that they've got to raise their game to get, you know, into the squad, let alone the starting lineup. And the 23 that Roy chooses to take to the Euros will be players that will, between now and the end of the season, will be playing and really thinking that, of course, domestically they've got to do the jobs for the clubs, but then internationally to get into that squad.
Certainly was. We don't want to get carried away because we're all notorious for getting carried away, but it was certainly
really
it was an exciting night. It was exciting to watch England come back.
You know, though.
And come back and fight. You've said that for years, though. You know, that's what you always say.
I say it every tournament, and it's hopeful, Ben, rather than, you know, knowing.
No,
but just seeing the movement, you know, that's what we don't get when we watch England. But from the word kick-off, it's like watching different players who play for their country putting on an England shirt and not doing what they were good at. The difference yesterday was they were doing what they did at their clubs.
Yeah, exciting. Let's bring things back to domestic football, of course. You were at the derby last weekend, John.
Get the ball in the box, stand it up there and let them compete for it. Just a bit like James used to do. You know, that's the type of centre-forward he is, and we need to play it to his strengths. And like I said, the one bit of brilliance we had in the game where it's a great cross into the ball, stood up to the far post, and he said, I fancy this, and he gets on the end of it, and what a relief. I've got to tell you, I went to the game. I was actually more nervous going up the escalator into the stadium than what I was when I was standing in the technical area last season.
Really?
Because it's a totally different situation. I was there when the Sunderland fans arrived. The organisation of the police was quite incredible. It was a military operation, and it just got everybody going. And going into the stadium and sitting in there with the fans was quite incredible. I'd love to be able to take all the players the week before, sit them in the stand, I know they have to play the game, and experience what it's like sitting with people who it means everything to them. And it was quite incredible, and it's such a relief, and, you know, we deserved the draw in the end.
The club was on the slide last season. You got the job to take over. It was hard to reverse that slide, but you made sure that they stayed in the division. When this start of the season, Steve McLaren gets a clean slate, clean bill of health. Did you anyway think that they'd be in the same position once again?
Absolutely not, no. Because there was some good players in the football club. We had a lot of injuries at the time, and I thought the players that we brought in would improve the squad, and I think they did. I think they improved the squad. But for whatever reason, and I don't know what it is, I can't put my finger on it, but as I did, they picked up so many injuries again. Soft tissue injuries this time, whereas in my time it was impact injuries. But they picked up injuries again. They had a good performance, they had a bad performance, then a good performance, then two bad performances. So there was no inconsistency. But the players were certainly better.
There was no consistency, yeah.
Yeah. So the players were much, much better. The squad was much better. But for whatever reason, it wasn't working. My opinion was I thought we tried to play too much football and not effective football to try and win games and get results.
You'd rather see them a bit more direct?
Yeah, I think the year we finished fifth, we were quite direct as a team, up to Demba Ba. We had Papa Cisse up there, and we played in that final third. I think what's happened this year is they've tried to get it out from the back with players who are not comfortable with it and suffered because of that. We have put in one or two good performances. The game against Norwich, at home in particular, was fantastic. So when it comes off, and against West Brom, when it comes off, it looks good.
Yeah. Do you talk of Norwich? Let's have a look at the remaining fixtures for yourself, Sunderland, Newcastle, Sunderland and Norwich. And, Jamie, I think if you look at Norwich's next three games, it feels like the two at home, Newcastle and Sunderland, that Palace game as well, they could really draw Palace down into the relegation fight too. It feels like it's a little bit at the moment in Norwich's hands, this, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they'll take heart from that. The two games there at home as well against Newcastle and Sunderland are, the 6 pointers, as it were. The must-win games, I think, if they're looking to stay up. But massive games for Newcastle and Sunderland as well. I think Palace are on a slide. Yeah. So that's potentially another place where they could pick up points. They need to turn it around, Palace, of course. But I think they'll look at them next three games, and if you were looking to stay up, you'd like to
target them.
Two wins out of them 3 games.
Absolutely. I think at least they'll be looking at thinking we can get 7 points from that. That's what Norwich will be thinking, because what they have done is, in recent weeks, they've tightened up at the back. I know they don't score many goals, but they're not conceding many of late. The draw against Man City and the win over West Brom. So they have tightened up, and they'll fancy that.
Would you back Newcastle to get out of this?
Listen, I've still got hope, and we discussed this yesterday.
Hope that kills you, John?
No, listen, let me tell you, I think from 8 games, we've got 4 winnable games. And we've spoke about Norwich. I think we can go into Norwich. I think this game's bigger than the Derby game last week. But I think we have to go there thinking we can win it. We've got Swansea at home. We've got Villa away. These are games in Palace at home. So they're 4 games I'm sure Rafa will certainly target where you think, well, we can win these games. I think the points total this year is going to be really low. I think it's going to be 35, 36 points. I really do, because, I'm saying we could target those 4 games and get 4 wins. I think we've only got 6 all season. So it is going to be tough. But my outlook on it is, the more people that are positive about it around the place, and there is a positive feeling because Rafa's coming to the club, it generates this positive vibe around the place, and just hope. I'm keeping my finger. I'm trying everything. I'm desperate, yeah, because this club has to stay in the Premier League.
The one thing that was identified last season, before you took over, and when you took over, was the defence wasn't strong enough. Why wasn't that sorted out at the club?
Well, that's probably one of the biggest disappointments for the fans and me as a member of the staff, because it's been there not just for 1 year, 2 years. It's been there for a long time, and I was very surprised we didn't bring in at least one, if not two, centre-backs. But you know what it's like. There's a budget there, and players were available.
But they spent 29 million in January, which is the most in Europe.
Most in Europe,
but
yeah.
on attacking midfielders and strikers.
Yeah, because they think that's how they got. They weren't scoring goals. They weren't creating enough chances, so they thought, well, we've got to try and score goals to win games.
John?
Well, I think there's. If I'm being honest, when everybody's fit, I think there's enough there defensively.
Right.
When everybody's fit, but we were struggling to score goals and create goals. So that was the reason why they spent most of their money on that. I think they overspent the budget that was there for the season, and they've taken a little bit of a gamble on that. But certainly at the start of the season, they should have brought in at least a centre-back.
John mentioned Rafa Benitez coming in. What did you make of Rafa? From the outside, James, looking in, I mean, how are the players going to react to somebody of his calibre?
Yeah, I mean, massive name, you know, and I think if you're not buoyed by somebody like that coming in, then, you know, there's a problem somewhere along the line. But, yeah, I think a great appointment. I think Rafa will go in there, bring his experience, and, like John says, hopefully tighten the back up, and then the players that they did invest in January and the previous windows, try and get them on the ball and try and get them creating chances and scoring goals.
I think that's one of the other reasons why we need to stay up, because if we do stay up, I'm sure Rafa's going to stay there and build the club and create something within the club, because I know this week he was down at the academy talking to the young players and the staff down there. What I will say is, forget about that at the moment. The most important thing is the top end, that first team, keeping them in the Premier League. But, you know, it's a massive appointment. It's one of the best appointments we've had, in all honesty, since Bobby Robson. Yeah, since me. Is
it the pull of the club that does it? Because you start off the season as Real Madrid manager, and you end up in a relegation
I think it's a great coup for Lee Charnley. I think, you know, he's been under massive amounts of pressure, so he had to go and get somebody with the CV that Rafa's got. But I'll be really interested to see how he deals with this different type of pressure, because, as we all know, in the North East, it's a huge pressure, and I'm sure you can deal with it. Listen, when you've gone to Real Madrid, a club like that, you can deal with anything. Yeah. So, you know, I'm sure he will. And again, that's why we need to stay in the Premier League, because we need Rafa to take this club onto another level.
The hankies just changed from white to black and white, don't they?
Hey, that's what it is, though. That's what they're white. Right, there's been a full programme of fixtures in Sky Bet League One over the Easter Bank holiday weekend. Here's Mark Tompkins with the rest of the action.
Burton extended their lead at the top to 4 points with a goalless draw against struggling Oldham. The Latics did go close when Mike Jones' corner caused all sorts of problems in the Brewers' defence. James Wilson and Tariq Holmes-Dennis both had shots blocked before the ball eventually rebounded to safety. The closest the home side came to a goal was through a Tom Flanagan header that hit the bar. Nigel Clough's side, though, had to be content with a point. Wigan extended their unbeaten run to 17 games with a comprehensive win at Swindon. The Latics led by a single goal at the break, thanks to Will Griggs' opener after a quarter of an hour. That's how it stayed until the start of the second half, when Gary Caldwell's side hit the informed Robins with 3 goals in 4 minutes. Max Power lived up to his name as he brilliantly fired beyond keeper Terrell Belford to net his first goal since mid-January. Wigan had drawn 3 in a row before beating Bradford last week, but they added a third as Grigg netted his 9th in 10 games. With the Robins rocked by the visitors' start to the second half, they conceded again a minute later as their 7-game unbeaten run came to an end. Sam Morsey gathered on the edge of the area before firing low past Belford. Swindon boss Luke Williams was full of praise for the Latics afterwards, saying they're fantastic. His side did grab a late consolation as Nikia Joe slotted home. Swindon's miserable day was compounded by the late sending off of Nathan Thompson after his reckless challenge on Chris McCann. No complaints from the Robins skipper, who admitted he made the wrong decision. A single goal was enough to seal 3 points for Bradford as they beat Millwall on Saturday. The decisive moment came 11 minutes from time as sub Steve Davis headed home. Rochdale stayed in the playoff hunt after a dominant performance over Southend at Spotland. Dale did have to come from behind after Jack Payne put the visitors ahead, just short of the half hour. Keith Hill's side were in search of a fourth win in a row and showed their character getting back into the match. Michael Rose's deep cross was scrambled over the line by Grant Holt just before the break. Dale's current runners lifted them to just outside the top 6, and they went ahead 4 minutes after the restart. Right back Joe Rafferty with a tidy finish after Donald McDermott found him in the box. Southend boss Phil Brown was fuming with his side's defending, and they conceded again just past the hour. Skipper Jim Allen's shot had enough power to evade keeper Daniel Bentley. Dale are now 2 points outside the top 6 and helped their goal difference with this latest victory. They rounded off the scoring to make it 4-1. Appropriately at Easter, it was Joe Bunny's 5th in 7 games that left his manager Hill a happy man. Peterborough won at home in the league for the first time since Boxing Day as they dented Coventry's playoff hopes. Michael Bostwick's header broke the deadlock on the stroke of half-time. Posh had been facing a 6th straight home defeat, but never really looked in any danger. Marcus Maddison set up Lee Angol for the second just past the hour. The Sky Blues, who've now lost 8 of their last 12 games, did pull one back through Joe Cole, his first since early November. But the 2-goal cushion was restored 4 minutes later when Roman Vincelot failed to clear and Harry Buteman took advantage. Coventry slipped to 9th, while Posh are 14th. A cracking match at Bramall Lane as Sheffield United looked to have thrown away 3 points against resilient Crewe. The Blades, who lost at Millwall last week, went ahead after 18 minutes. Shea Adams with his 9th league goal of the campaign. Just past the hour, the points appeared to be safe for Nigel Adkins' team. Ryan Flynn's acrobatic effort beat keeper Ben Garrett. But that seemed to spur the Alex into life, and they pulled a goal back as they fight for survival. David Fox's long-range strike gave them some hope. And with 8 minutes to go, Steve Davis, his side levelled. Harry Davis with his first goal in over a year. But the Blades weren't finished and scored a late winner to send the Alex back to the foot of the table. Billy Sharp's close-range header made it 3-2 and lifted the Blades up to 11th, 4 points off the playoff places. It took Blackpool 74 minutes to break down a stubborn Bury defence at Bloomfield Road as the Tafilaskirk stepped up to beat keeper Chris Neal from the spot. But the home side's joy was short-lived as 2 minutes later Bury levelled. Danny Mayer swept in John O'Sullivan's cross to edge the Shakers onto 50 points. Blackpool are just 2 points above the drop zone. Chesterfield and Fleetwood failed to produce a goal in their survival battle. Both remain just above the relegation places. Fleetwood's Tyler Hornby-Forbes was inches away from an opener. The Spyrites almost secured 3 points late on, but Lee Novak headed wide. Doncaster boss Darren Ferguson was furious with his Rovers side as they surrendered in the second half at Colchester. Rovers led at the break after a debut goal from Gary McSheffrey, who's joined on loan from Scunthorpe. With both sides in the bottom 3, this was a must-win game for both, but it was the U's that showed more desire in the second half. The home side's comeback began just past the hour when Chris Porter made it 1-1. Colchester had gone 3 without a win before this and took the lead for the first time when Elliot Lee curled in beyond keeper Remy Matthews with a second of his loan spell from West Ham. A minute later, and Kevin Keane's side gave themselves a 2-goal cushion. Another fine finish, this time from Alex Gilby. And a fine turnaround was completed with a 4th goal 3 minutes from time. Richard Brindley with his first ever league goal, leaving Rovers boss Ferguson saying his side were a shambles.
So here you go, here's how things look in the bottom half of League One. Colchester are off the foot of the table for the first time since early February. Well done to them. That late Billy Sharp winner for Sheffield United meant that Crewe missed out on a valuable point. Oldham have moved within a point of safety after securing a draw away at the leaders Burton. At the top end, Burton are 4 points clear of Wigan. Walsall are in the mix for that second automatic spot. They're 3 points behind Wigan. And, of course, as you can see, they've got a game in hand. Bradford have moved up into the playoff places with that win over Millwall, but it's pretty tight. All the sides down to Southend in 12th are 6 points off a place in the top 6. We've got 2 live games for you from League One coming up over the next couple of days. Burton Albion, they've certainly got their eye on playing in the Championship next season. They travel to Millwall, who of course are firmly in the mix for the playoff places. You can get that Sky Sports 1 and 5 from 7:30 on Monday. And then on Wednesday, Nigel Atkins, Sheffield United travel to Southend, 7:30, Sky Sports 1 and 5 for that one as well. Great, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to have the best of the action from yesterday's League 2 fixtures. And we're going to be hearing plenty more from James about his recent spell at Swansea and what life was like as a Premier League goalscorer.
For the chip! Here goes Beattie! Oh, what a strike! Chance, goal, Beattie. That was a rocket from Beattie. Oh, that is superb from James Beattie!
Welcome back to Goals on Sunday. James Beattie and John Carver are with us this morning. A little bit of UK garage there for you, Beats. I understand that you're a bit of a fan.
Well, yeah, when I was in Southampton, that's when UK garage sort of like kicked off.
Garage.
Double garage.
Garage in the UK.
You want to get your decks in there and get spinning some vinyl.
He doesn't even know what he thinks you're going to be punching someone. He's talking about decks. But you're there's some great memories in there. We know and experience you as a goal scorer. But this year, the sort of saw you experiencing life in the Premier League as part of Swansea's management team and coaching staff. What was that like?
Yeah, amazing experience. I've known Gary for a while, obviously, and as John will tell you, you need a team around that you can trust. To be working at that level was fantastic. Really enjoyed it, and it was unfortunate that it ended so soon. But thank the club for giving me that opportunity. But hopefully, there's more to come. Was
it straight away because Gary had brought you in that the club said you've got to go, or did you decide to go?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. I think I was there because I wanted to, improve the team going forward, but also to make sure that I was part of Gary's team and quite close to him and looking out for him. And I think that there was a bit of, if Gary was going to go, then I was going to go. But then I think the club took steps to ensure that anyway.
Did you sense the vibes coming along that it was going to be a problem?
I think it was a difficult period for us. They've got fantastic players. They still have, but we were always confident that we were going to get out of it, and we were confident that Gary was confident, I was confident, the whole staff were confident that the group of players would have come through it a better group of players. Gary would have come through it a better manager, and we would have come through it as a staff and as a club stronger to then face the latter part of the season. But the decision was made, and that's why the club made the decision to get rid of Gary, and then I followed, and some of the other staff did as well, and I think that was to try and safeguard the survival. But as I say, we were more than confident that we were going to get through it.
Well, we had Gary on a few weeks ago, and I was fascinated to understand that he used to mic himself up during training sessions and film the training sessions so he could listen back to what he'd said to make sure he was being as clear as he possibly could be with the footballers. That's extraordinary attention to detail that really sort of surprised us in terms of understanding the level and the lengths that the coaches and managers are going to.
Yeah, I think Gary's super critical of himself, and he likes to.
He's just going to choke there.
Tea going down the wrong way there. I think he just likes to improve on any level that he can, and I think that's a new thing. Maybe he just wants to improve, like we all do.
I think it's very important that you're still learning whilst you're doing the job, and And I used to do something similar. I didn't mic myself up, but I videoed everything, because sometimes when you're in amongst it and you're working with the players, you don't see the things you want to actually get out of the training session, so you can actually go back and reflect on it, have a look at it and say, right, and that actually can actually influence your decision on your team making at the end of the week, because you've seen something that you're not happy with, there's a reason for it, you can reflect on it, you can look at it over and over again with your staff, discuss it, and then say, right, that wasn't right, we can change it.
I think we used to video the sessions for the players to review, but like John says, if you're wanting to improve yourself, then you can look at things. If you didn't deliver a certain point in the correct manner, or you weren't happy with it, then you can address that, and then next time you'll try and put it right.
Did the players accept that review though? Because you know what players are like. You know, they'll say, you know, don't worry about what I've done in training. It's all about on Saturday.
Well, the technical staff that we had behind the scenes, they developed their own app, and they put it on the lads' iPads.
Really?
So they put it straight onto the iPads, and it was there for their own review.
So the app would feature.
They designed their own app, and it's specified to Swansea, because I've never heard of any other club having it. But these guys are really clever, good lads, but really clever. Way out of my league, you know, Cammy.
I know, we spoke about that.
Yeah, but for their own review, and
it would be specific to their position, to their parts.
No,
of
it was a training session. It was filmed in a wide-angle camera, so you know they could see everything that was going on.
Yeah.
But we knew whether they'd watched it or not, which was a nice little.
So you could monitor them as well.
Yeah, but it was put on when the lads were eating the lunch. It was put on a big screen, and if there was any specific incidents that happened, you know, funny ones, then that would be replayed over and over again a number of times. But
or if you ate too many meals, you were in trouble.
But for serious review, it was there. But then it was also put on their iPads as well.
Yeah. Did you have any technical?
Yeah, we had something similar where the players had access to their own features. So everything they did in a game. And the training sessions, but they could just access it, going on the internet, log in a key, a password, and get their own information off it. And the problem we had was trying to find a balance, because we're giving them so much information. We had a pre-game meeting, we would have defensive meetings, attacking meetings, and you've got to be careful. You know what players are like, their concentration levels are pretty low. So we had to just watch really, really closely how much work we actually did with the players in the video room, because at the end of the day, the most important work was out on the training ground.
Yeah, certainly is. Fascinating stuff. There was, let's get the goals from Sky Bet League 2 now. Here's Mark Tonkins with the rest of the action, starting with Newport's trip to Northampton.
Northampton moved 13 points clear at the top of League 2 with a single goal win over Newport to extend their unbeaten run to 17 games. On-loan Millwall striker John Marquis made it 4 in 7 matches midway through the first half to all but seal the Cobblers' first promotion in 10 years. Oxford lost ground on the leaders as they were held at home by Stevenage. Michael Appleton's side weren't helped by the 16th minute sending off of John Lundstrom. The former Everton midfielder was dismissed by referee Brandon Malone for a bruising tackle on Michael Tongue. A 3-match ban would mean Lundstrom missing the Johnson's Paint Trophy final against Barnsley in a fortnight. Despite their numerical disadvantage, Oxford rewarded a penalty on the stroke of half-time when keeper Jamie Jones wrestled Daniel Hilton to the ground. But Jones redeemed himself as he parried Liam Sercombe's spot kick and managed to grab the ball at the second attempt. Sercombe did make amends for that miss, though, 13 minutes into the second half, as he scored his 14th of the season, ending his 16-game goal drought in the process. Glenn Roeder has been brought in by Borough to support caretaker boss Darren Sarll. And minutes after his arrival in the technical area, the visitors drew level to rescue a vital point in their survival quest. Greg Lure set up Byron Harrison to end their 5-match losing run and leave them 7 points clear of second-bottom York. Bristol Rovers held on to the final automatic promotion place on goal difference after a comfortable win over Cambridge at the Memorial Stadium. Darryl Clark's Rovers went into a 9th-minute lead when Billy Bodin fired in from long range. The U's remain 6 points outside the playoff places after their first defeat in 3 games. They fell further behind after 18 minutes when Bodin headed in his second of the match. Clark was delighted with his side's latest win, but says he's aware how quickly things can change. The victory was rounded off 17 minutes from time when Matty Taylor coolly netted his 22nd of the campaign. Plymouth made the long journey to Morecambe and wasted no time in getting their push for automatic promotion back on track. Derek Adams' side had lost 3 of their previous 4, but took a 14th-minute lead when Chelsea loanee Jordan Houghton fired in his first for the club. The Shrimps had picked up just 5 points out of 36 coming into this, and their cause wasn't helped on the stroke of half. Argyle took just 2 minutes of the second half to make their advantage count. Jake Jervis crossed for Jamil Matt to score his first since joining on loan from Fleetwood a fortnight ago. Plymouth remained just outside the automatic promotion places. Accrington, the club with the lowest budget in the Football League, kept up their chances of a top 3 finish with a single-goal win over Leyton Orient at the Crown Ground. Scott Brown scored the winner 6 minutes into the second half, as defeat saw Kevin Nolan's O's drop out of the playoff places. Mark Cooper took charge of Notts County for the first time and blasted his new side as they were heavily beaten by Portsmouth. Pompey went ahead a minute before the break after a fine solo run from Kyle Bennett brought him just a 4th league goal of the season. Bennett has started all but 2 of Pompey's league games since joining from Doncaster in the summer. He doubled his tally 4 minutes into the second half after he was picked out by Gary Roberts. County have one of the worst defensive records in the division, with only 3 teams conceding more. Pompey emphasised their dominance with a 3rd goal 9 minutes from time when Christian Burgess headed in from a well-worked free kick. And the scoring was completed in stoppage time when another header from Mark McNulty beat County keeper Scott Loach. Pompey are 6th, 5 points off the automatic promotion places. Wickham took advantage of Leyton Orient's slip-up to move themselves back into the top 7. The Chairboys, who missed out in the playoffs last season, extended their unbeaten run to 4 games after Michael Harriman's 7th of the campaign. York desperately need to start winning games if they're to prevent a return to the National League after 4 seasons in League 2. They did show fighting spirit against Crawley, coming from behind twice. Matt Harrold put Mark Yates' side ahead after just 5 minutes. York had lost 6 of their previous 7 coming into this, but levelled after half an hour. John Ashton tripped Luis Alessandra in the area, and Luke Summerfield scored from the spot. 3 minutes into the second half, the visitors retook the lead. Liam McAlinden with his first for the club since joining on loan from Wolves. But for the second time, Yates' side failed to hold on to their advantage as York rescued a point just past the midway point of the second half. Michael Coulson made it 2-2. York remains 7 points from safety with 8 games to go and travel to promotion, chasing Plymouth next.
There you go, here's how things stand at the bottom of League 2 this morning. Dagenham and Redbridge weren't in action this week. York could only draw with Crawley, so they're still 7 points off safety. Both Yeovil and Hartlepool have 39 points. Notts County were well beaten, weren't they, by Portsmouth? Yeah. Mark Cooper's first game in charge, that was. They still have a 12-point cushion over the relegation places. At the top, Northampton looks set to be playing in League 1 next season, 13 points clear after Oxford
what a job he's
were
doing,
held at home by Stevenage in a very tight battle for the 3rd automatic promotion spot. Bristol Rovers and Plymouth both have 68 points. James's former side, Accrington, are just a point further back in 5th place, and Kevin Nolan's Leyton Orient have slipped to 8th. There's some live action from League 2 available for you on Monday. AFC Wimbledon are just 4 points outside the playoff spots. They take on Paul Cook's Portsmouth, who are up to 6th and chasing promotion. 12:30, Sky Sports 1 for that one.
Cracking game.
So, James, your old side, Accrington, picked up 3rd win in 4 games on Friday. Just a point off automatic promotion now. How big an achievement would it be for John Coleman and his team to sort of make that?
Yeah, it'd be massive. Be massive for the town as well. I think they're everybody's second favourite football club, aren't they? And
who are they?
I think
exactly.
I've never heard that one. But yeah, I think under new ownership now, I think they've invested in the side quite heavily and got another couple of loan players in quite recently. So doing great.
It was the club where you made your transition from player to managed course, where you've got your first chance. How do you look back on that time?
Yeah, great. I really enjoyed it. It was got a lot of credit from people in football from it, and still speak to a lot of the lads that were at the club at the time.
You had a very small budget, didn't you? I think one of the smallest budgets in the Football League when you were there that you were trying to work within the confines of course.
Yeah, it was. As John said there, Rafa Benitez going in and looking at the academy and concentrating on the specific job at hand, which is the first team. I think I learnt a lot about what was important. Maybe trying to do too much and trying to fight too many fires. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But there wasn't any room to delegate. There was virtually nobody at the club. So
didn't you end up paying a tax bill yourself in the end out your own pocket?
Yeah, I did. But that was to get Cal Naismith in from Rangers. And I did it with about 5 minutes to go. And he ended up being our top scorer. So,
it was well worth it.
It was well worth it, yeah. But, just all sorts of things. Brilliant experience. Really enjoyed it. Cut my teeth. I was, up against the coalface, as the guys will say. And it was a great experience for myself. Learnt a lot of stuff and, really enjoyed it.
And I'd imagine after Swansea, of course, you're keen to get another chance somewhere else. Would you go with Gary if he went somewhere, or would you looking to do your own thing?
He wants me to. But I've said in the meantime, if there's anything that I wanted to have a look at, then I will do, and he's fine with that. But looking to get back in. But I'm sure Gary will be at the forefront of any running for any jobs that are coming up. Maybe alongside John.
Undoubtedly.
Looking to get back in.
Well,
as
look,
soon
best
as
of luck.
Cheers, thank you
both so much for coming in Easter Sunday. It's great to see you both, and hopefully we'll see you back in action as soon as possible. That's it from me and Cammy. Have a great Easter.
Yeah, absolutely. We're back 10:30 again next week.
Don't eat too much chocolate. See you then. Bye-bye.